Hi everyone, it's Jen with Spirited Saturdays, and I'm here today with Anne-Sophie from A Mind Media. And thank you for being here with me, Anne-Sophie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. And we are talking about what we're grateful for having the illness itself. So the other week we spoke about why we're grateful for recovery, and this week we're talking about why we're grateful for the fact that we had an illness, what it is about the struggle itself, what's inherent within the struggle that we can really embrace and really grow from and really use to benefit ourselves and just learn from and continue on in our recovery, and how we can have a positive influence on others because of what we went through. So we're both going to speak to that, and did you want to say a few things about your process and perhaps about what it was about the illness itself that you're grateful for, that you may be using for positive ways now?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I bet myself up for having had anorexia for such a long time, and I was always thinking, why me? Why did I have to go through this? Why did I have to suffer so much? And why did I not recover sooner? All these things that we ask ourselves. And I was looking at others and I thought, well, their lives is so much easier, their lives is so much more happy. But over time I realized that that's kind of a messed up way of looking at what I've been through, and seeing the past 14 years in which I've struggled as just lost is limiting my life in many ways. And so I started to shift from actually being very sad about having had it to being grateful for having gone through what I've gone through, because it's made me a much stronger person. It made me want to give to others. It made me want to live life to the full. And I know it sounds very cheesy, and because we say this, but it's true that when you've struggled, you realize how precious life actually is, and how you should use every day and make something good of it. And we all have bad days, but overall, if you live with a purpose, your life is meaningful no matter how much you've struggled and how sick you were.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, you make amazing points, and you are an excellent role model and an excellent example of somebody who is using their struggle for good and for positivity. And I think drawing on that struggle, and so that you can relate to others. Like that's the whole. That's, I think, how you can use it, as you can put yourself where you were without having to go back there, in order to kind of combine what you've learned and then kind of pass on that insight to others, and to live by, to kind of live as an example of what it means to be in your strongest state, having been through it. And
and there's this hope that you can spread that nobody else can, because as much as I love my therapist and as much as I loved working with her, there's something different about talking to someone who has gone through exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
And so many things that we struggle with are the same. We share so many thoughts, so many behaviors.
Exactly.
So I always said that if I can help just one girl, just one girl see the light, in all the darkness, then all my struggles were worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you see your eating disorder, any sickness you're struggling with in that way, it makes it worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, if you can kind of relate to somebody and draw on that same type of struggle, although maybe your experiences may have been different, but something about the eating disorder struggle inherently is shared between you. You have this understanding of each other in that regard, and yet you may be further along in the process of recovery than that person is. That person will take something from you. The person will I mean, you know, it depends, because maybe there may be some level of not wanting to hear it, but ultimately they have heard it on some level, and they will take something very valuable, and they're going to have to look at, if they didn't want to hear it, why, you know, what it brought up for them. They might not as easily just tune out somebody who isn't talking from experience, but the fact that you know and that you can directly give them hope might be very scary. And you know, because you're living proof, and they might not be ready to go there, but you're showing them that it's possible. And they might be very scared by that, but it, as scary as it may be to some people, it is that much more beneficial. And you know, you've given them something, you know, very unique in that you get it, and yet you have made strides toward getting out of it, and hopefully most of the people that you speak to will be grateful. I mean, we've been talking about gratitude these past 4 weeks, and you know, this is all about gratitude, and the people that you inspire, you know, because you have struggled and because you have used that for good, will be so grateful. They may not be able to show that to you, but they're grateful, and your existence and what you're taking from this and how you're dealing with it is something that a lot of people will be grateful for. So you're affecting a lot of people just by honoring your struggle and allowing it to plant the seeds for growth that you never imagined was possible. You know, because you're not just going back to life. You're going back to life based on having consciously gone through a recovery, and having consciously dug deep, and not consciously, but experienced, you know, the darkness and the despair, and having come out of that, you can live more consciously than you ever thought possible, and in that way you can inspire others just by living that way. So,
yes, exactly. And I think there's also something very powerful in knowing that, you know, even if you're still in recovery or getting ready to recover, there's something powerful in making those decisions, and there's something powerful in rescuing yourself. And it doesn't matter if you're in treatment, if you're inpatient, whatever, you are rescuing yourself on some level. And there's something that you will never lose this feeling, you will never lose this knowledge, and this will help you in so many situations in life. And I think that yeah, you're stronger because of everything you've gone through. And I just want to say, nothing happens without a reason, and an eating disorder is horrible, and it does feel horrible, but there is a reason why you're suffering, and you will get better, and you can get out. And later on, you often look back and think, okay, I've made it, you know, I've made it, I've gone through it, and I'm still here. I am still here.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And you know, I think there's also something to be said for, this may be slightly off topic, but addressing some of the issues that preceded the eating disorder, because when you recover from that, you're not only recovering from an eating disorder, you're healing yourself, you're working on healing, you know, your past, and coming to terms with that and moving on from that. And that's a part of the struggle, and that's something that I think that, you know, you need to recognize about yourself, that you were able to do that, which is why sometimes just focusing on, you know, I lost this, as Anne-Sophie was saying, you know, I lost these many years, oh, that's horrible, you know, but you know, that the struggle is understandable based on whatever in your life, or in your whatever reasons you had the struggle, it makes sense for you. And so by honoring the struggle of the eating disorder, you're honoring the strength it took to have to deal with all that led up to the eating disorder, and then you're honoring the strength it's going to take to then deal with that and form a new, you know, perspective on yourself and on life. So it's all worth it. It's being, you know, being present in your acknowledgement of the struggle itself on so many levels is very much worth it, and it will enhance your quality of life in recovery and when you're recovered.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that a lot of people never deal with their emotions, deal with themselves on such a deep level as you do when you're in recovery, and as you do when you heal yourself, like you said. So
and in that sense, that you need to sort of may have served a purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you may never have felt the urgent need, you know, or had to for survival to deal with stuff that came before.
Exactly.
And now this is unfortunately presenting an absolute urgent need to recognize those things in order, you know, in order to survive and grow.
Yes, so. To grow is a great word, I think. And
well, thank you so
fun.
much.
And one more thing that I'm very thankful for, I met you because of having had my eating disorder. I would have never met you. So.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so thankful for having met you too. And you're wonderful, and thank you for being you and for needing me, and and being amazing for all the people who watch you and read your blog and listen to your podcast. And I'll put the links to all of Anne-Sophie's her organization and any relevant links in the description box, so you can hear and see more of her, because she's a beautiful lady and has inspired so many people and will surely continue to do so. So thank you for being on We Are Freedom Fighters, and we'll see you next week. Okay, and hope you're all having a good holiday, New Year, all of that. Okay, bye.
Bye.